It was a normal day in 1890 post-Civil War America when a man got onto an all-white rail car. This man was a shoemaker named Homer Plessy, living in a middle-class neighborhood in New Orleans. Back then, he would be considered a Creole, or a person of French or Spanish African descent. With a light complexion, no one would even notice that this man was 1/8 black. However, he didn't want to keep this a secret. Standing up and grasping the attention of all the passengers around him, Plessy announced his ethnicity and was demanded by the conductor to move to the black section of the train. Refusing, Plessy violated the Separate Car Act of 1890 and was arrested and brought to court. Who in the right mind would purposely get arrested for something so easily avoided at the time? Well, this brave man was a member of the Citizens Committee of New Orleans, a group of black activists looking to end discrimination against all African Americans and freed slaves. Plessy was recruited to test the American law regarding equal rights, such as the Civil Rights Act of 1875. After the Civil War, a few amendments were added to the Constitution. The 13th Amendment outlawed slavery. The 14th Amendment, an Equal Protection Clause, was passed as soon as it became clear that the 13th Amendment could possibly be disregarded by the states. The 15th Amendment granted African American men the right to vote, or so it was supposed to. This Reconstruction era was meant to ensure that both blacks and whites would enjoy the same rights. At this point, the Constitution basically said that states could segregate their black and white citizens while traveling publicly. In exchange for support to becoming president, however, Rutherford B. Hayes agreed to end the Reconstruction era with the Jim Crow laws, which introduced the idea of separate but equal and many other segregation laws, including the banning of intermarriage and business partnerships of different races. In court, Plessy claimed that the Separate Car Act was unconstitutional under both the 13th and 14th Amendments. Plessy petitioned the Louisiana court for Ferguson to stop the charges against him. The state court refused, so Plessy, passionate as ever, took this case to the Supreme Court of the United States, and by a 7-1 vote, the Supreme Court declared the Louisiana state law constitutional and sustained it. Justice John Henry Brown interpreted the words of both amendments cleverly and narrowly, making Plessy lose the case. Ironically, the 7 to vote against Plessy were Northerners, while the 1 voter in favor was a former slave owner. This lone voter, John Marshall Harlan, wrote, "The white race deems itself to be the dominant race, but the Constitution recognizes no superior, dominant, ruling class of citizens. Our Constitution is colorblind. In respect of civil rights, all citizens are created equal before the law." The court ruling affected many people in their daily lives. It was illegal for people of different races to marry, be seen together on public accommodations, and have the same rights just because of the differences in their skin tone. However, a group of people mostly affected by this were the African Americans. Plessy versus Ferguson started the trend for Southern states to legally segregate society according to race. Although separate, these races certainly were not equal. African Americans received poorer education, housing, and rights due to their skin color. They were deprived of their constitutional rights as U.S. citizens. Legal segregation remained part of the South well into the 20th century until the 1954 case of Brown v. Board of Education, which was understood to violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment.